You got the job, the title, the salary, and yet it still feels empty. If you clicked on this video, you probably know that feeling, that hollow sensation when you finally achieve what you were supposed to want and realize it doesn't fix anything. Maybe you're an introvert who learned to play the game, who mastered the performance of extroversion, who smiled through networking events, spoke up in meetings even when you weren't ready, forced enthusiasm you didn't feel. And it worked. You climbed, you succeeded. By every external measure, you made it. But inside, you feel like a stranger in your own life. That's me. That's been me for years. I achieved so-called success by becoming someone I'm not. And the cost? I forgot who I actually was. Now this video is about what happens when you achieve success by pretending to be someone you're not. It's about the slow erosion of self-esteem from faking extroversion, the identity crisis that follows achievement, and the realization that you've been performing so long you don't know who you are anymore. If you're successful but exhausted, accomplished but empty, recognized but invisible to yourself, let me tell you what happens when introverts win by losing themselves. I learned early that being myself wasn't enough, not in the obvious dramatic way, but in the quiet ways that shape you without you noticing. The ways that teach you that your natural state is somehow deficient. In school, participation grades rewarded the kids who raised their hands first, not the ones who thought deeply before speaking. Group projects favored the loud organizers over the quiet contributors. Teachers praised leadership, which really meant being outgoing, assertive, comfortable, commanding attention. Now, I wasn't those things, but I sort of learned to fake it because the world doesn't reward authenticity. It rewards performance. And I got good at performing. By the time I entered the professional world, I had it down to a science. Walk into rooms like I owned them, heart racing, make small talk like it energized me instead of draining me, laugh at jokes I didn't find funny, network at conferences where every conversation felt like sandpaper on my nervous system. Speak up first in meetings before I would process my thoughts because waiting meant someone else would claim the idea. Interrupt, talk over people, take up space aggressively. All the things that went against every instinct that I had. Perform confidence I didn't feel, energy I didn't have, enthusiasm that wasn't real. And it worked, I got promoted, I got the title, I got the salary increases, I got the recognition. Everyone thought I was thriving. And by every external measure, I was, but inside I was disappearing. The first time I got a major promotion, I thought I would feel proud, accomplished, validated. Instead, I felt nothing. I sat in the meeting where they announced it, smiled, shook hands, said all the right things, and then I sort of just went home, closed the doors, and sat in silence for an hour. I wasn't celebrating, I wasn't excited, I just felt empty. Because that promotion, it wasn't for me, it was for the person I'd been pretending to be, the extroverted version, the performance. And some part of me knew I didn't earn this by being myself. I earned it by betraying myself. And that's when the questions started. Quiet at first, easy to ignore. If I only succeed by being someone else, is it really my success? If people only value me when I'm performing, do they actually value me at all? Like, who am I when I'm not performing? Do I even know anymore? Now, people talk about imposter syndrome like it's irrational, like you're successful and you just need to believe in yourself. But what if your imposter syndrome is actually rational? What if you feel like an imposter because you are one? I wasn't experiencing irrational self-doubt. I was experiencing the accurate awareness that the person getting recognized wasn't actually me. It was like a character I created to survive in a system that punished authenticity. You know, every achievement felt stolen, every compliment felt like it was meant for someone else, every promotion deepened the gap between who I was and who I pretended to be. I wasn't an imposter because I wasn't good enough. I was an imposter because I was performing someone else's definition of success. You see, success is supposed to clarify who you are. It's supposed to validate your choices, confirm your path, prove that you made the right decisions. But when you achieve success by performing a version of yourself that isn't real, it does the opposite. You know, it creates an identity crisis because now you have two options and both feel impossible. You can just keep performing, keep climbing, keep achieving, but know that every step forward takes you further from yourself, that every success makes the performance more permanent, that eventually the mask becomes so fused to your face you can't remember what you look like without it. And option two is you can stop performing, you can be authentic, but risk losing everything that you've built. Risk being labeled difficult or not a team player or lacking leadership presence. Risk watching your career plateau while the performers keep climbing. Neither option feels like freedom. Both feel like different forms of imprisonment. And that's the trap. That's why success feels wrong, because you didn't just climb a ladder, you climbed the wrong ladder, and now you're at the top, looking down, realizing you don't even recognize the person who made the climb. The thing about performing is that it doesn't stay contained. You think you can fake it at work and still be yourself everywhere else, that you can sort of wear the mask 9 to 5 and take it off when you get home. But I have found that it doesn't really work like that. You see, the performance sort of bleeds. It bleeds into your personal life. It bleeds into your relationships, into your private thoughts. You start performing authenticity, performing relaxation. Even alone, you're not sure if you're being yourself or performing being yourself. I would catch myself in moments, just sitting alone, supposedly relaxing, and realize that I was still performing, still holding tension in my body, still monitoring myself, still managing the image. Even with no audience, I just couldn't turn it off. Because after years of faking extroversion, I would lose the ability to distinguish between who I actually was and who I've been pretending to be. And the mask has sort of fused to my face, and I just don't know where the mask starts and my face begins. People kept telling me that I looked tired, and I was, but it wasn't the kind of tired that sleep fixes. It was the exhaustion of maintaining a performance every single day, of suppressing your natural state constantly, of managing energy you don't have while performing enthusiasm you don't feel. You see, introverts already spend energy differently than extroverts. Social interaction, it just drains us in ways it doesn't drain them. We need solitude to recharge. We need quiet to process. We need space to exist without performing. But when your success requires constant performance, you never get to recharge. You never get to be yourself. You're just running on empty, managing a deficit that only grows. And the worst part, everyone thinks you're fine because you've gotten so good at performing fine. Now, here's what nobody tells you. Success built on performance, it doesn't build self-esteem, it destroys it. Every achievement becomes evidence that the real you isn't enough, that you only succeed when you're pretending, that your authentic self has no value. I would look at successful extroverts and just feel jealous, not of their success, but of their alignment, They got to be themselves and succeed. Their natural state was rewarded. But I had to choose between authenticity and achievement. And every time I chose achievement, I would lose a piece of myself. And I think that the most devastating part isn't what performing does to your career, it's what it does to your relationship with yourself. You start to resent the real self, the quiet one, the one who needs space, the one who can't just turn it on at networking events. You see that self as the problem, the obstacle to overcome, the weakness holding you back. And you try to kill it slowly by ignoring it, by suppressing it, by starving it of the conditions it needs to exist. Until one day you realize you've been at war with yourself for years and you're winning. And that victory feels like death. If you spend years becoming someone else to achieve success and then you achieve it, who succeeded? It isn't you, the performance, the mask, the fake version. If the real you never succeeded, if it only watched from the inside while the fake version took all the credit, then what do you actually have? A career built on betrayal, success that belongs to someone else, achievement that confirms your deepest fear, that who you really are isn't enough. And that's not success, that's erasure. And that's why it feels wrong. Because it is wrong. So, what do you do when you've achieved success by betraying yourself, when the ladder you climbed is the wrong one, but you're already at the top? When your achievements feel hollow because they belong to a version of you that isn't real? Well, the truth is, I don't have perfect answers. I'm still trying to figure this out. Still trying to find a person that I buried under years of performance. But I'm starting to understand a couple of things. And maybe they'll help you too. First, we need to address the uncomfortable truth. You can't reclaim authenticity without risk. The world that rewarded your performance doesn't automatically reward your authenticity. So the question isn't, can I be authentic without risk? The question is, what is the cost of continuing the performance? You see, every day you perform is another day you betray yourself. Another day the gap grows wider. Another day you lose pieces you might never get back. And at some point, you have to decide what's more expensive, the risk of authenticity or the cost of performance. Now for me, the performance was killing me, slowly, quietly, but unmistakably. So I started making different choices. I didn't quit my job, I didn't burn it all down, but I started setting boundaries. I stopped attending every networking event, after work parties and stuff like that. I stopped forcing myself to eat lunch with colleagues when I needed space. I stopped performing enthusiasm in meetings. I started being honest. I need time to think about that. I work better alone on this. I'm not available after work. Now at first, it felt terrifying, like I was sabotaging my career. But the world didn't end. Some people understood and some people didn't. I survived, and I started recognizing myself again, not fully, but glimpses. Small moments where I felt like myself instead of the performance. Success doesn't have to mean the biggest title, the highest salary, the most recognition. Maybe it just means alignment. Going to sleep recognizing the person you were that day, building something that doesn't require you to betray yourself. Maybe success for introverts looks quieter, smaller, less visible, but more real. I measure success very differently now, not by external achievements, but by internal alignment. Did I betray myself today, or did I honor myself? Did I perform as someone else, or did I stay present as myself? Those questions matter more than any promotion. Now, I'm not going to pretend that this is easy. Most days, I still perform. I still choose safety over authenticity, but some days, more days now, I choose differently. I speak for my actual thoughts. I admit when I need space. I stop forcing enthusiasm. Those days, I just sleep better. I recognize myself in the mirror. I feel less hollow. So, if you're an introvert who's achieved success by faking extroversion, you're not broken. Your success isn't fake, but it might be misaligned. Now, you have a different challenge. Can you succeed being yourself, not the performed version, the actual, authentic, introverted you? Now, it won't be easy, but I do believe that it's possible. You can start small, you can set one boundary at a time, admit one truth, choose authenticity in one moment where you would normally perform, and maybe nothing happens, maybe backlash, but maybe you'll start recognizing yourself again. And that recognition is worth more than any title. Every time I make a video as myself, the actual introverted, overthinking, questioning version, it is an act of rebellion. It is me saying, this is who I am, the quiet one who needs space, who processes slowly and thinks deeply. And I'm done apologizing. I'm done believing that success requires me to be someone else. I'm done betraying myself for hollow achievements. This video, it isn't another performance. This is me, 100% unmasked, admitting I don't have it all figured out. But I'm trying, messily, imperfectly, scared. But if you're questioning whether your success is worth the self you've lost, you're not alone. We're both learning to value alignment over achievement, both reclaiming the people we buried under the performance. Success doesn't have to feel wrong, but it will as long as you're achieving it by being someone you're not. The authentic, introverted, thoughtful version of you is enough. You don't have to keep performing. You don't have to keep climbing ladders that lead nowhere real. You can build success that actually fits you. Smaller, quieter, less impressive to others, but it will be yours. Actually yours. And you'll recognize yourself in it. And that's what I'm building toward. Slowly, imperfectly, with no guarantees, but at least it's real. So start small, start today, be yourself in one moment where you'd normally perform. Now my guess, it will feel more like success than anything you've achieved so far. Thank you for watching. Tap that like button to share your support. Subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, stay hungry, relentless, and strong in your journey, but most importantly, stay yourself. Bye. Oh, you're still here. Oh, that's right. It's the behind the scenes vlog. So this is where I share more personal stuff. It's mostly for my subscribers, but if you're new here, hey, you're more than welcome to stick around. Okay, so before I forget, my new book is finally out now. It's on Amazon, it's in paperback, it's in hardcover, and of course Kindle. So if you're interested, check it out. And there's something that I have to tell you. Okay, so here's the thing. This is my final video of the year. Sort of. Let me explain. For those of you who are new to the channel, I always take a break between November and December every year to reflect, to calm down, and to reinvent myself. Social media can be incredibly stressful and easily lead to burnout, especially if you're a content creator. But honestly, I don't really feel stressed at all, despite everything I've done this year. I started my business. I've been struggling a bit, with bookkeeping and the IRS. I opened a web shop. I published 3 books. I only mentioned 2 here because the third one is more like a personal project that doesn't really have anything to do with wage slavery. What else? I launched a YouTuber course. I started a Patreon community, which I love, by the way. And I've been experimenting across all social media platforms, posting consistently throughout the entire year. Even converted my old camera channel into Tom Scryleus clips. It's been really fun. I get to experiment with thumbnails and titles and play around creatively without overthinking. I basically just post clips from these longer videos on this channel. But here's the thing. Like I said, I don't feel burnt out. I feel inspired. I feel excited, but there are so many more things I want to try, so many ideas. But I still think that burnout can sneak up on you without a warning. So maybe I'm standing right at the edge just before it hits. So there is a problem with taking a break from YouTube because the algorithm will almost certainly punish me for it. But you know what? I'm used to it. And also, I have a sneaky plan. So what am I going to do during these next 2 months? Well, mostly I want to jot down ideas and reflection for 2026. Taking a break from social media, it gives me space to breathe and distance, to think more clearly, to get perspective, basically. And also, Christmas is around the corner, and I'll be spending as much time as I can with my family. My mom is coming over for Christmas and staying with us for a week. And that will be interesting. So, what are my plans for 2026? Like I said, I've been experimenting with a lot of things this year. And I've realized very quickly what works for me and what doesn't. And I don't mean what performs well. I mean what feels authentic, for someone like me, an introvert. So for example, I've been contemplating whether or not I should build a webinar course program. I hear those things are very lucrative. And as curious as I am about how it works, I realize deep down inside that it's just not me. I've mentioned the importance of trusting your intuition before. I even made a video about it, because most of the time your intuition is actually right. We just need to learn to listen to it more. And right now, my intuition is telling me 100% that I was brought to this earth for one simple thing: making YouTube videos. Now, you can laugh and you can tease me about that. I don't care. I love making videos on YouTube. And the second thing is I really want to focus more on my Patreon. Interacting with my Patreons has been so much fun. Some of them I've even started helping on their own journeys, starting businesses, launching YouTube channels. And I sort of feel like a mentor. But it's all very casual. They DM me, I reply, it's fun, I like it like that. So YouTube and Patreon, that's what I'll be focusing on in 2026. I'm stopping Instagram, TikTok, and X. They're just not my thing. I'd rather focus my energy on what actually feels authentic to me. Oh, and there was just one more thing. Technically, this isn't my last video of the year. I will be posting something very interesting here in just a few days. I don't want to spoil it yet, but it's kind of a surprise, which might sound strange, but don't worry, it will make sense soon, and I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a great and wonderful Christmas when you get there. Bye.